I'm Kevin Shaw, and you're watching the Watercraft Journal.
We at the Watercraft Journal were well aware that a new RXP-X was coming down the pike for Sea-Doo's 2021 model year, even as far back as 2 years ago. In all honesty, we were a little afraid of the prospect of an all-new machine too, as the current RXP-X had such a strong fan base. The question wasn't whether it could pack the punch equal to its full-size RXT-X brother, but whether it could rise up to the challenge of the closed course. Competition has been stiff in recent years, and Sea-Doo needed not just a home run, but a grand slam to win over the die-hard performance market. Debuting back in 2012, the now outgoing RXP-X introduced the world to Sea-Doo's T3, or tight-turning T-hull. The muscular two-seater rode on a very aggressive, deep-keeled hull that flowed into a soft-edged inner chine and finally into a radiused outer chine. These rolled edges gave the muscular craft its now iconic cornering behavior. Additionally, a single step at midships was designed to create added suction before the intake grate, keeping the hull planted better and the pump loaded. To those who could master the chop, drop, and roll process, the RXP-X fit like a leather glove. For the uninitiated, though, the RXP-X's lightning-quick reflexes could be, well, let's just say surprising. Of course, fears of being ejected were now absent thanks to the innovation of Sea-Doo's new ErgoLock technology. Deep padded coves and angled foot wedges were borderline science fiction 9 years ago, and a supercharged and intercooled 260 horsepower was like handing a kid a loaded gun. Sure, Johnny might learn to have some fun with it, but he's more likely to hurt himself. At the time, this was the most race-ready personal watercraft we had ever seen from Sea-Doo, so how on earth could it possibly be topped? Enter the 2021 Sea-Doo RXP-X 300. As we've said previously, the new RXP-X is easily the most ambitious race-ready four-stroke to come out of Sea-Doo, period. From its GP class high-bolstered saddle to its revised T3 hull, the new RXP-X makes a seriously bold statement. And that is that Sea-Doo's here to win, and if we got a kick in some teeth to do it, prepare to start drinking smoothies from now on. Sure, it's packing the same amount of horsepower since 2016, but it's using all those ponies a hell of a lot better. No slop, no slack, and zero waste. What might surprise some of you is how much of the redesigned 2021 RXP-X 300 shares with the GTI. Both share the same acrylic molded CM Tech fiberglass deck, the versatile link accessory and engine access panel, and even the same hood. So why is this a good thing? Easy. It gives the Sea-Doo the brand's best overall storage, even more than the big RXT-X or GTX. 40.6 gallons of space split up between a 30.7 gallon front bin and a sizable 2.5 gallon glove box. And besides the 1630cc Ace 300 powertrain that it shares with the aforementioned RXT-X and GTX Limited, it's also got their massive 18.5 gallon fuel cell too. But let's talk differences. For 2021, the RXP-X dropped 67 pounds, making it considerably lighter than the previous generation, and it does it while retaining the same overall length and being less than an inch wider. So no, it's definitely not bigger. And while the supercharged and intercooled Ace 300 engine returns unchanged, the RXP-X features a new top-loader intake grate and a highly polished, repitched prop, producing greater thrust in initial hookup. One last additional change was that Sea-Doo moved the engine and gas tank 2 inches forward, placing greater emphasis on the nose, but more on that in a second. Interestingly, relocating the engine required a new, longer drive shaft. Given the opportunity, Sea-Doo tweaked the design of it, as well as that of the carbon ring seal. It's not a noticeable change, but Sea-Doo has worked with its parts supplier to develop a new and improved carbon compound to hold up to the added rigors and torture that RXP-X owners are sure to deliver. All of this equates to a far superior power-to-weight ratio and demonstrative gains in acceleration. Sea-Doo measured 0 to 50 miles per hour in 2.9 seconds and 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds versus the previous 3.9. And remember, it's got launch control too. And while units sold domestically will be restricted to a US Coast Guard approved 68.5 miles per hour, our unrestricted test unit reached a GPS confirmed yet unsustained peak speed of 73.8 miles per hour at 8,000 RPM. Yet much of the RXP-X's appeal isn't found in its ability to run a straight line. Heck, any ski can go straight. What really makes the RXP-X is how well it corners. For 2021, Sea-Doo didn't completely redesign the T3 hull. Rather, engineers made nearly 30 subtle yet specific changes to make it more forgiving for less aggressive riders without losing its racy edge. Dubbed T3R, the biggest standout in the new hull are its CM Tech fiberglass construction and a series of serrations running along the inner chine at midships. Coined by BRP as shark gills, these serrations are designed to break up the hull's surface tension, aerating the water's cohesion and making for a slightly looser, more gradual corner at slower speeds. But how does it work? Again, at slower speeds or in a gradual sweeping turn, the RXP-X rides on this second chine, which previously could load up or suddenly bite, whipping the RXP-X into a hairpin turn. By breaking up this surface, the RXP-X can progressively roll into a wide sweep with confidence. Further changes were made to the tail from the pump inlet back. In fact, the entire wetted surface at the tail was redesigned to improve hookup and reduce chine walking. At its outermost edge is the same rounded chine as before, providing unbroken surface tension when cornering hard on its rail. Yet, snapping a tight turn at wide open throttle is now a far more gratifying experience because of the recent weight redistribution. We found that the new RXP-X can carry full speed better throughout a turn without the rider needing to back off the throttle. In our 2 days of testing the new RXP-X, we found that favoring the nose means the vertical bow and concave dead rise still does most of the work as before, particularly when trimmed all the way down, which is how Sea-Doo racers recommend we ride it. Yet, with the bulk of the weight moved forward, the hull's natural pivot point has been greatly advanced. Rather than the bow leading the Sea-Doo, the RXP-X feels surprisingly paired with the rider. It's here, directly beneath the rider, where the RXP-X makes its most contact, whether tracking through chop at high speeds or setting up the nose for a late apex 90-degree sweep. So in other words, yeah, it corners a lot better. Of course, this is not how most enthusiasts ride, so Sea-Doo developed a more forgiving feel for casual riders. Then again, don't be fooled, this thing is designed to corner, and to do it on the nose, so trim that sucker down and snap those bars with the throttle pin, man! Sea-Doo seriously stepped up its ergonomic game with its now standard one-person seating. Yeah, you read that right, there's no passenger seat unless you buy it as an accessory. Why? Because most RXP-X owners that Sea-Doo interviewed said that they almost never bring a passenger. Instead, the new seat, which they call ErgoLock R, features a plastic block-off plate at the rear, a thick padded backrest, and a durable hook and eye system that allows for as much as 5 inches in adjustment. If sprinting through the mangroves or maneuvering through a twisting channel is your thing, then bump that seat up until it's just a little tight. Then stand up, set your heels firm on the new 2-angle foot wedges, slip your knees beneath the padded coves, and wedge yourself snug into the saddle. That seat back will literally lock your legs in place, letting you steer at full throttle without feeling like you're constantly having to do chin-ups. Additionally, Sea-Doo made the telescoping steering neck, the same one used on the Trix and previous RXP-X, optional as well. Again, most performance enthusiasts said they didn't need it, so Sea-Doo plopped it behind an option box. The same went for the BRP premium sound system. Producing the identical 100 watts of Bluetooth-controlled fun as the systems found on the GTI and full-size runabouts, it too is another goodie you gotta check a box for. And no, that doesn't mean you can fit it on any pre-2021 RXP-X either. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Listed with a base MSRP of $15,799, the 2021 Sea-Doo RXP-X 300 comes in a classic Bombardier hue, what they're calling Millennium Yellow. Now if you're wanting a little more flash, you can fork over the extra $300 for the Midnight Purple and Manta Yellow variant, which is what we tested here. And Sea-Doo's also offering 2 unique vinyl wrap kits to boot, so at the very least, it can definitely look the role. But is it the grand slam that Sea-Doo needed? While we mourn the loss of adjustable sponsons that come standard with the same X-Series sponsons on the RXT-X 300, we were a bit disappointed by its tendency to unhook the pump at wide open throttle while jetting across 2 to 3 foot wind-blown lake chop, even when trimming the bow up. Remember, if you're unhooked, you ain't making thrust. In all, the new RXP-X leaps forward several steps ahead of its predecessor. The out-of-the-hole acceleration, optimized weight distribution, killer power-to-weight ratio, and improved rough water straight-line tracking are all the things that many performance enthusiasts have been craving for years. And all of that adds up to solid proof that Sea-Doo is listening and has delivered the musclecraft that its most loyal fans have asked for.
I'm Kevin Shaw, and you've been watching the Watercraft Journal. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it with your friends, and leave a comment. We'd love to know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any new videos from the Watercraft Journal. Additionally, if you want even more reviews, please check us out at www.watercraftjournal.com, where new articles are published every day, Monday through Friday, entirely free to you.